So the first poem I'm going to read is one of my favourites, and it's called On Our British Shores, and I hope you enjoy it. On our British shores, there's a child that goes to school hungry. On our British shores, there's a brother that's in education in the morning and the street corner at night. On our British shores, we chip in £1 for Red Nose Day to feed the poor kids in Africa, but we can't feed the ones on our British shores. On our British shores, we ship the Windrush generation back home because they have built our homes and are no longer needed. Our MPs claim back taxes for a sandwich while our NHS is unfunded. This all happens on our British shores. But we cover up our pain and shame with a royal family that only cleans up our name, Great Britain. But what is so great about a nation that sweeps racism under the carpet? A nation that enjoys the suffering of the poor so they can use it for a political campaign. A nation that watches its ship sinks while they sit in lifeboats with duffel bags of our hard work money. Ain't it funny that we claim to live in a democracy, but all this happens on our British shores? On our British shores, we act like we live in Hollywood, but in reality, we live in the slums. With no way out but a credit card and a pile of debts on our doorsteps. On our British shores, we play dress up for the rest of the world so they can see us as great. On our British shores, I guess we can say we're fake. So I hope you guys enjoyed that poem. The next poem I'm going to read you guys is called From a Society. I'm from a city that never sleeps. I'm from a generation where social media determines how we sleep, who we date, and how we think. And we think that materialistic things complete us while we compete to stay in the limelight. With our eyes not as bright, filled with tears, but we can no longer cry as we follow trends blindly, refusing to tap out of this virtual world, built to distract us from the things that really matter. I'm from a society that molds you, that constructs you to think and behave like robots, so they can complete their mission to erase your existence, while we solely exist to help them stay rich, while we stay swimming in depths, passing the cycle of poverty to our kids. But when we no longer move to their beat, we become dirty computers, our hard drives cleaned out, casted out and called rebels and rule breakers. But what kind of rules are those that only benefit the money makers? Their pockets are fatter, while ours are thinner. And we become property of Her Majesty the Queen, as we no longer see our identity stripped and hanged on the four walls of their museums. I'm from a society that every institution was built to silence you. Your opinions and feelings, they don't matter. I'm from a society that only discusses money matters.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this amazing space. I'm Fiona Laird. I'm a theatre director, charity founder, and Big Tent, I don't know what, person. And I'm going to introduce a really exciting session now, which is going to ask 3 questions. What is the power of culture in our city to make change? What is the importance of cultural leadership? What does it mean? What does cultural leadership mean, and what does it look like? And legacy and future, where cultural leadership can take us. So you're in for an amazing session, which is just going to flow through various people's performances and talks. So I'm going to introduce Sean Leach. Sorry, Josh Leach, not Sean Leach. Josh.
Hi.
Who is now going to introduce the rest of the session. At the very end, I'll come back on and force them all to take a curtain call.
Sure.
Okay, thanks very much.
Hi guys, I'm Josh, and today I'm going to talk to you about creativity, leadership, and in my style, I'm going to go a little bit meta and talk about our evolution. Our survival as humans has always been down to our ability to adapt, and our creativity and imagination have always played a massive part of that. And there's so much creativity in our diversity, in our different perspectives, and it's our differences, ultimately, that have helped us to survive. Other animals, like, say, a giraffe, when they're born, they know how to stand and walk straight away. Everything they need to do is already coded into their DNA and their brains, so they can just be a giraffe. But human babies can't really do anything for themselves for the first couple of years, because our evolution is about having a big brain that can learn language so that we can learn from each other's experiences without having to go through them ourselves. For example, knowing which mushrooms are going to kill you and which mushrooms are going to entertain you. The thing about creativity is you need to have leftover energy to use it. When our ancestors first started making cave paintings, they were able to do that because they had enough food and water given to them so that they could live and create art. The same goes for the first person who discovered fire. Other people let them rub sticks together all day while they went out to forage and hunt. And because people looked after each other, when they did discover fire, then everybody's well-being and survival chances increased. It wasn't tied to any ideas of contributing to society. They just let them do their thing, and their thing contributed to society. That means that creativity is always from a place of abundance. And that makes art an expression of abundance, that when we're lonely, we can use that captured energy to nourish us again. It's a kind of spiritual food that creates more of itself. Culture and creativity are a way to bring people together. When we pay attention to the same things, we feel more connected to each other, and we're more likely to talk. And when we talk more, ideas and information spread faster, and we can respond quicker. Creativity doesn't happen in isolation. If businesses in Coventry want more regeneration, they need to work together to create spaces we actually want to hang out in and contribute to. We need to think about the collective experience we can provide. The easiest way might be to use colour. If you see what they did with Hertford Street in town, which I love, where now it's very colourful and beautiful. And the thing is, it doesn't matter if it's not to everyone's personal taste, because even then there's an opportunity for connection, whether that's over a shared hatred or a shared love. And there's a cafe bar there, Fratelli's, which has been opening in the evening. They play music, people sing, they dance, they do breakdancing, because it's somewhere that they like to be and they enjoy staying there. In the same way that bright flowers attract bees, colourful cities attract people. And what does this have to do with cultural leadership? Well, it ties back to our variance. Anyone can be a leader, because leadership is situational. A leader is the person who at the right time has the right quality or action that allows the group to move forward. This is important because it means who the leader is changes depending on the situation. We need creativity and varieties of people to be able to respond to our changing world and shape it. I'm going to get a little bit political now. In 2019, the Labour Party's ideas were becoming more and more popular whilst led by Jeremy Corbyn. The Conservative Party started to freak out, and rather than engage with the arguments they were losing, they decided to shift their whole focus onto leadership. Because they knew if we put all our faith and energy into one person, that as soon as they could discredit that person, they could scatter and discourage lots of people's creativity and potential for change. When we rely on one person too much and buy into the myth of the savior hero, we create massive blind spots for ourselves. But when we have diverse leadership and fluid leadership, when we share our power, we increase our field of vision and we can take in more territory. That being said, Don't underestimate the power that one person can have in initiating change. Don't underestimate the power that you can have in initiating change. And I wanted to talk about a personal example where this happened more recently. With the opening event for City of Culture, Coventry Moves, where if you remember they had the song, which was split across 7 different radio streams that you could tune into with your family and friends and your neighbours' devices. When I heard about it, I wanted to organise something in my street. So I went across the road to speak to my friend, because I wanted to build momentum and say, oh, so-and-so is already taking part, so it won't just be us. That was my plan. Unfortunately, my friend didn't want anything to do with it. So I came away feeling a little bit disheartened and thinking there's going to be this cultural activity that's going to happen, but for some reason, we might not all be ready to receive it. So I thought, okay, maybe people just need a little bit more time rather than me showing up at their door and asking them to decide then and there. So I wrote people a letter, said, hey, this event's happening. If you're interested in taking part, please put this letter up in your window and I'll come organise it sometime in the week. As I was coming back, one of my neighbours came out to greet me and she said, oh, I'd love to take part, but I'm not going to put the letter in my window. So I thought, okay, you want to take part, but you don't want to communicate with me in the way that I asked you to. So now I actually have no idea who else on the street wants to take part at all. Only one other person put the letter up, and I thought, oh my God, this event it's going to flop on my street. It came to 8 p.m. and half the street just showed up. It was a really nice surprise, and people stayed out talking to each other long after the song had finished. Before I'd like to go, I'd like to leave you with a call for action. With City of Culture and the events that are happening, don't just invite your family and friends, invite your neighbours too. We're in a loneliness epidemic, and it can be really powerful for someone to ask if you want to come too. You might have a positive effect on their lives, and they might have a positive effect on yours. Thank you. We're going to have some animation and poetry and some collaborations, as well as some dance coming up now, and some more speakers. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Melissa Smith. I'm a creative from Coventry. I also work as a community organiser for a local charity called Grapevine. Creativity and community is at the heart of what I do. I'm on a mission to encourage more people to find creative solutions to live their best lives. We take a shared leadership approach to community action. We've all gone through unprecedented times. Being trapped at home without proper contact or interaction, it's left people feeling alone and isolated. However, for some, loneliness and isolation is not a new thing. Having a long-term health condition or a disability often brings barriers for people when trying to access a good life. Restrictions to travel, not having any friends to meet up with, access issues, and lack of understanding are just some of the things that place people into their own lockdown even before the national one started. It doesn't have to be that way though. When you give people options and opportunities to rediscover their talents and skills and support them to develop their ideas, truly magical things can happen. Take New Vibes, for example, a group of people fed up of not being able to enjoy Coventry's nightlife. They came together to share their first-hand experiences of the difficulties that they'd faced. But more importantly, they came together to share their ideas for solutions. And they went big. They wanted to create an accessible night. So with the help of JJ's nightclub and the team at Connecting for Good, they worked on pulling this together. They started to attract attention and it wasn't long before Simon Green, a photographer from Coventry University, got involved. He took them under his wing and coached them to become DJs and photographers. Everyone had a role, everyone had a purpose, everyone worked together, and they did not just one, but 2 inclusive nights at JJ's before the lockdown happened. They've since gone on to DJ at venues across the city, including doing a warm-up act for Jerry Dammers. During lockdown, they hosted music and quiz nights, and 2 weeks ago, they had their first photo exhibition at Fargo Village. Their strapline is "Fight for your right to party." Another example of thinking creatively to tackle loneliness and isolation is Creative Kindness. Their mission is to connect together to make simple crafts that promote well-being and kindness. They started in Coventry Library a couple of years ago, meeting weekly for chats and crafts, tables full of conversation and laughter, people connecting with each other whilst making beautiful bookmarks or cards that they'd then go on to leave across the city as random acts of kindness. Lockdown brought a new set of skills for them: online working. For Creative Kindness, this allowed for new connections. After an online film screening of a craftivism documentary, they joined forces with other groups from Coventry and creatives, and they formed Coventry Craftivism. Together, they are working on campaigns that raise awareness of important issues such as "We are all smear ready" and messages for the climate talks in Glasgow. Why are these stories important? Well, more often than not, I hear people saying, "Oh, that's a nice activity," or "Isn't that lovely?" What they don't realise is that by coming together to create and make, these communities are boosting their well-being, improving their health, and working together with a shared purpose. And they're addressing important social issues. They're making a real difference, not just to their own lives, but the lives of others. To quote Margaret Mead, "Never doubt that a small group of committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." Not enough emphasis is put on the creative arts for health and well-being, and that needs to change. We all have the power to change our situation, but doing it alone is hard. Sometimes all we need is a helping hand, someone to walk beside us, someone to bring out our skills, or a safe place for us to go. The better that we can connect with each other means that our circles of support will be stronger. So when we do face difficult times, we have a whole community behind us. If my talk has resonated with you today in any way, if you'd like to change the world in some way, or maybe you need a helping hand, a new sense of purpose, or if you'd like to share your skills, passion or time, come and find me afterwards. I'll be by the doodle wall outside, or check us out on socials at Connecting for Good, Cov. Thank you.
That stretch of grass, not a waste of space. Don't come along here to state your case, to build another student block, leaving residents in horror and shock. We can make our city better, but we need to keep it green. Who wants to see a place where no bird is ever seen? Green space makes us happy and calm. Coventry even used to have a farm. But greed took over and the need to build more. But chopping down our trees means we're losing for sure. Too many people with not enough space, not being free to move without someone in your face. Empty buildings just left to rot. What's really important seems we've all forgot. A city of culture is not made of stone. It's about people relating to the place they call home. Having some pride in the place that they live. So many different people with so much to give. It's not too late to change what we do. We can make this city great, but it needs me and you.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Coventry. Always wanted to say that. Sorry. I'm Alexandra Johnson. I'm one of the 15 cultural leaders who have been recruited by Coventry City of Culture, like everybody else today, and I'm very excited about it. I'm also a writer. I'd like to introduce you to Jean. Jean works in finance. She does something with numbers. She usually wears something with a sequin or maybe some glitter, and she rather likes an animal print, particularly on a strappy sandal. Jean runs the kitty for the nice coffee and biscuits. She comes round with an envelope for every birthday, funeral, christening, sponsored swim, and you silently wish that you could avoid Jean. You don't want to put into her collections, really, but you enjoy the card and the present on your desk for your birthday. And she puts it there on a Friday if it's the weekend when it falls or you're on holiday. You enjoy the cakes for the special days, and it's always fun when she arranges the tickets for the ABBA night, the panto, the Christmas party. She makes sure that everybody gets to let their hair down at least once a year. Nobody gets away without having a good time. And Jean isn't paid to be social secretary for the firm. Jean has never been asked to do any of these things. Jean just saw a gap and decided to fill it. Jean knows that everybody needs to feel special just for that one day of the year. She knows who can't afford the contributions. She just gives them a wink as she wafts past with her manila envelope in a vapour trail of Chanel No. 5. Jean's been with the firm since the early 80s, before there was the internet and the intranet. She started with a paper list and a fool's cap envelope. Now she can get your contribution by direct payment, flick of your wrist or your phone. She can even give you a receipt, but you trust Jean, you don't need a receipt. Jean does her job perfectly, and she is the picture of professionalism. But Jean is never considered to be the stuff of a manager. She's been overlooked. Promotion after promotion. Oh, it's just Jean. She doesn't push herself forward. It's not like she's a leader or anything, is it? Well, actually, she is. Jean is quiet, effective. She's an undervalued cultural leader. Jean raises morale. She unifies the workforce, and she makes work a lot less like work. Without her, the isolated would remain out there on their own. She gives the year structure beyond the columns of the accounts package and the annual leave chart. She's the glue that keeps everyone together, and no one even notices she's doing it. You know, she didn't even mention it when she didn't receive a card or perhaps a little bunch of freesias on her desk when her Charlie died. Knocked her for 6, to be honest. Joyce would usually have stepped in. She does for Jean's birthdays, but Joyce was having her knee done. Jean is an unseen leader. Maybe you're Jean, because I know I have been. She creates a bridge between the everyday and the special. She brings the arts to the desk jockey. She gives the team a reason to go out and see that band or that show or that performance that they thought about, but probably wouldn't go on their own volition. We need to recognise every Jean. They're out there. We need to value them, nurture them, know what we've got in them. They bring us together and they show us a diverse spectrum of what's out there to enjoy. They bring us fun. Cherish Jean, respect them, nurture them. And in a world of grey, you can be Jean. Thank you very much.
Hi guys, my name is Chrissy. I'm a spoken word artist and I'm going to read you a poem called Of Pure Ivory and Gold. I am her, crafted by my motherland, made of pure ivory and gold. I have broken every chain, broken the chain of oppression, made of pure ivory and gold. Deep in southern Zimbabwe lay my ancestral mothers, warriors, fearless, strong Ndebele women. In the west, my father's birthplace of Nigeria, lived the Igbo tribe. Activists, public speakers, strong, fearless women, freedom fighters. I am my mother's child, carefully molded in my mother's womb, made of pure ivory and gold, molded for greatness. Blessed are those graced by my presence. Blessed is the world that I rest my feet upon. A great one once said, freedom cannot be achieved unless the women have been emancipated from all forms of oppression. Freedom is what I require. Freedom of peace, freedom to be one with the world. I am her, crafted by my motherland, made of pure ivory and gold. Hi guys, my name is Chrissy Okori and I'm reading you a poem called I Am. I am a melanin queen, a rare diamond found in the rich African soil. I am Africa's lost child, making my way back home. I'm living the dreams my ancestors started. I am the light at the end of the tunnel, the end and the beginning of a new creation. I've been crafted by my motherland, handpicked to bring Africa's lost children back home. Gifted by my ancestors to the world to change lives and bring light, to finish what they started, to bring a new way of life. I am mighty and courageous, protected by the hands that chose and molded me. Mama Africa is calling me and I have answered. I am a rare diamond found in the rich African soil. I am a legacy left by my ancestors for the world to see.
Hello there, leaders and thinkers at the Big Tent. I'm Thanh Sinden and I'm one of the 15 City of Cultural Leaders. I want to explore how arts and culture, creativity, create the social interaction that facilitates civic engagement and safe civic spaces where our assumptions can be safely challenged and transform our relationships with people, place and planet. I believe challenges to our work conditions, social, economic, community and environment can only be resolved and progress positively through co-design, collaboration and embedding inclusion at the core. My hope is that everyone experience hope, joy and play through equitable access to arts and culture, how to enable more people to be represented, valuing all our differences and care for all. I believe in the transformative power of arts, culture and creativity. I believe it is an injustice that not everyone gets to benefit from this because of inequality. I am a dreamer and I believe dreaming of what's possible is the magic that accessing, engaging and making arts and cultural activity brings to the world. Through arts and culture is how we see and understand one another. It's how we express and imagine a new reality and future. It is so crucial to how we think about solving the issues of our times. As leaders, with our power and privilege, we must ensure we play our part in the continuum to equality. So at the Big Tent, exchange the exciting ideas, opening up different creative ways of thinking about doing things, and crucially, to have the lens of equality, valuing difference and ensure inclusion and belonging for all.
Tick, box, talk. When challenged on the subject of whether Black lives really matter, I'm averse to add my dulcet tones to this infuriating chatter because, to me, it seems quite obvious that although all lives have worth, that we continue to be gaslit, misled on purpose, in our search for equality and inclusion in a world built on division, demonstrated every moment, microaggressions, micro-incisions. For if white males the world over cared about fair game and treatment, you'd expect Me Too and equal pay protest to be less frequent. When you show white wives and daughters that their old man can walk the walk, when you pay your women the same as you, hit me up. I'm all ears. Let's talk.
I wrote these words for everyone who struggles in their youth, who won't accept deception instead of what is truth. It seems we lose the game before we even start to play. Who made these rules? We're so confused, easily led astray. Let me tell you now, everything is everything. Everything is everything. After winter must come spring. Everything is everything.
Hello everybody, and yeah, that was so amazing. We are here to talk about legacy and the future, and just to briefly introduce ourselves, my name's Eleanor House, and I'm the COO of a charity called Feeding Coventry, and we operate the city's largest social supermarket and also several food hubs across the city.
It's good to be here. My name is Laura, and I'm an artist, founder of an organization, Mawoko Arts, that uses art to build bridges, especially with a focus on migrant communities. Thank you.
Hello. It's on. I hope you're all well. My name is Tyler Campbell. I'm 20 years old. I'm the founder of Fridays Coventry. Fridays Coventry is a youth initiative I set up to prevent knife crime and gang violence in Coventry. We're trying to tackle antisocial behaviour and better young people's future at the same time.
Yeah, so starting us off in this conversation, we are talking about legacy and what that is to us. So the first question to ask guys is, Ellie, what's legacy in your world?
What is legacy in my world? Well, I guess in Feeding Coventry, we like to see people on their journey wherever they are at. And so what that means is that we're creating a space where everybody feels nurtured and safe and supported. And we want to create a space where, you know, eating good food and eating food together and celebrating together is not a luxury. It's part of community and part of how we share experiences with each other. And that is one of the ways that we kind of build in culture and creativity into what we do. And so I guess legacy for me is really about trying to sort of create the foundation and the right environment for that to flourish. So where we have a situation where people don't look with suspicion on people who need to access services to get, you know, food for their families or need extra support, and that we are, you know, inclusive of everybody. And when we think about, you know, how we're going to celebrate and bring creativity into our communities.
So when you talk about people not bringing suspicion, what's that? What does that look like? Like what?
Well, it's really interesting. I've been with Feeding Coventry for a couple of years now, and we took over Fossil Community Centre as our main venue. So what it looks like when you go in is it looks like maybe like a farmer's market, sort of crossed with a supermarket, but there's every kind of food that you could want there, including like frozen and fresh and
steak.
And steak, yes.
Steak
Got everything. And you can get a whole shopping bag for £4 instead of, it's probably worth about £25 worth of food. And contractors who would come in would say, well, how do you know that people really need it? You know, how do you know that they're not just lying to you and they just want a bargain? And it always used to kind of make me smile because it surprised me, because I thought, wow, you really don't know. You're so lucky. You've got an amazing, you know, you've got like a consistent role and a job, and you're obviously bringing in money, and you don't know that there is some people who use their food budget as the flexibility to live. So, for example, if you have, you know, if you've got an urgent, you know, electricity bill or particularly high gas bill over the winter months, you're not going to not pay that because the utilities will cut you off. So people use the food budget and household budget in order to sort of flex the things that they need. And you know, but aside from that, you know, people come in self-identifying as in need of help and support. That is not I just can't think of any examples where people do that just because they're trying to make a fast one. It's actually something that can make people feel quite ashamed and quite, there's like a humiliation in having to ask for support for the most basic things. And that is another reason why we want to create this space where there's no judgment and that we're celebratory and inclusive in our approach, because that's, you know, it's not a good place to be, and so you need to be uplifted in that space.
That's such a service that's full of heart, isn't it? Yeah, that's really beautiful. Thank you. How about yourself, Tyler? What's legacy?
Legacy to me is leaving a positive impact. We need more people to be more passionate about different interests, because we've all got a different interest that we like. If you're not connected to one thing, there's definitely a connection that you've got that will help someone out. So I think we all need to start being a bit more, like maybe even a bit more like just keep bringing a positive impact to people. Let's have passionate people who are in the future. The young people are the generation, so we need to teach the young people from the start. We need to teach the parents and the families about what people feel and what change do you want to make. If you don't ask, you don't get. So it's all about just talking to people, asking what they want, and we've always been doing that within Fridays. We ask people all the time, what do you want? What ideas do you want to bring? Is there any prizes that you want? And I think that's what it's all about. We've also got different activities within Fridays. We've got a youth board as well, and they're going to be our real heart engine of Fridays, where they're going to bring in different ideas. It's in like their own little youth council where they can provide different projects, and we need more passionate people. And everyone has a talent. Everyone in this crowd has a talent. I know you got talent, so come on, guys. Let's all work together.
That is so powerful. Do you have something that you want to ask Tyler?
Yeah, I was just going to say, what do you think the barriers are to achieving that legacy, specifically for young people?
I think the barriers are yourself. Only you can control you. So if you want to achieve any goal, you can achieve it. Push yourself to any limit you want to get. If a dream doesn't scare you, then it's not the right dream. You guys need to push for any dreams that you want to get, talk to people around yourself, and the barriers is really you stopping yourself. doubt will kill more fail than dream success will ever do. So please, guys, believe in yourself, keep pushing yourself, and remember why you're doing something. It's to better the future, it's to better yourself, it's to better people around you.
So important.
That's so good.
Well, how does legacy relate to your work, Laura?
Oh, okay. Is my mic okay? Is it working now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So for me, it's really experiencing, and the next generation. I don't want the next generation to go through what I went through. I want, for example, I could say there's in the communities, okay, we work with women from migrant backgrounds. So I remember this lady that I spoke to some years ago. I met her quite a few years ago, and she's Muslim, so she wears a hijab, okay. Very intelligent, mathematician, she's into science and all these things. That year that I first met her, she was struggling to find a job. Fast forwarding 5 years, 6 years later, she was still in that same place. And it's quite sad, because when she was relating that same story that we spoke about 5 years ago, and then what I'm talking about now is like the last time we talked about that, it's again like 5 years, 5 years ago. That's like now 15 years to today.
Yeah.
So it's like if her story has impacted on her children. So this is what's happening right now. Her 2 children decided not to do much with their education. But these children were born here in this, in this country. So they said, Mom, if you are going through what, everywhere that you're going, you are being judged because of who you are, because of your accent, because of this. But again, these are things, topics that we see them in the newspaper. We gather in places like this, and we talk about this. So what is it? Where are the gaps? There's something about implementing, there's something about where is the action, of actually doing something that does not impact, the younger generation like yourself, Tyler, because we don't want young people to be fighting the same things that we've just been sweating out and fighting. So it's a generation that really has like a legacy that has tangible change. Like that's the change. It has happened something. There's a movement going on that's tangible. Yeah.
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 I think that's really interesting, because I think it's so important that we listen to people's experiences when we're responding with cultural leadership or creating initiatives. One of the other things that we do in our organisation is that we don't require anybody to be meeting certain benefits. We don't ask them to demonstrate how much money they've got to prove that they are poor enough to access the thing that they want to come in and do. It's open access because it's based on what that person actually needs. And some people just come in on a couple of occasions and then they will join our gardening group, which I know, like, Tyler, you've been down to.
Big up the gardeners out here.
But it's amazing, isn't it? It's like, it's such a great, it's really such a nice vibe in the community garden where we're all growing food together. And it's another place where people can just kind of hang out. And I'll like come back to sort of like what Josh was saying in his in his speech. If you have to create places where people actually want to hang out if you want to build community. And it's all about not, we can't be exclusive about that. It has to be, if you want to get involved, then you bring your passion and your skills and your enthusiasm, and then and we build more than the sum of its worth.
No, that's too true. And we've talked about what legacy is to us. I think if we have time, we can talk about what it means to you as well. But we really want to go back to Laura's point about the outcome. There needs to be an outcome in all of this as well, within the legacy. To me, we believe that young entrepreneurs is the new way to be. We think it's the new future. Young entrepreneurs, everyone's creative, everyone's got talent, everyone's got potential. It's about pushing people positively into the right direction about where they can take that and where they can actually get the success they want. Success is so different to everyone else. Everyone's got a different kind of success, but we should all deserve to be at that successful stage in our lives.
Yep. What does the outcome look like for you?
What does the outcome look like?
Yeah, for you.
The long-term legacy.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess I would like it to be recognised that creativity and culture has a really demonstrable impact on people's well-being, and that you can connect it with people's actual physical needs to make it like a safe and nurturing space for people. And I think that's really important, because I think a lot of the time when we deliver public services, we say, oh, well, you know, what's the need? How can I tick that box as quickly and as effectively and as cheaply as I possibly can? And that is not the way for me. It's the way is listen to people, what it is that they say that they need, and provide a lovely experience that makes them want to come back, sharing that the same joy that you've created, and you know, it will be self-sustaining. Most of our volunteers started off being members of the social supermarket, and I think for me, like, that brings me so much joy, because I just think what we're doing is actually working.
Thank you.
Have a great day, everyone.
And I'm just thinking, like, you know, we talked about implementing, and the question of around, okay, we are here today, and there's so many summits that go on around the world, so many conferences, and good ideas come out of that. But then the next thing is what happens after that. Yes, notes will be taken, there will be documents that are written, but how, the question is, we are at the moment talking as the 15 leaders. Who will pick up those questions that we have in order to actually implement and see it come to life? This is something that we've been talking about. We feel energized now. So again, going back to the legacy, going back to the action, I would say collectively for us, it's that thing really coming to life. Yeah, what that is. Do you have something to add about that? Because we had a bit of a conversation on that.
And we're all about asking people, what do you want? So can we ask you right now, what does legacy mean to you? If you want to just shout any answers out. Progress. Someone said progress. That is great legacy. You know? There's no right answers either. Wait, pardon? Sustainability. That's what we need. That's what we need. Anyone else?
Leveling up to the next step when it comes to our society.
Aye, big up, big up. All right, leveling up to the next step. Come on. Any more answers? Oh.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
And consistency came from that side.
And consistency as well. So we believe all you have to do is ask people, what do you want? There's only a few answers that we've already said today, and we've already learned about what else we can change. If we all just come together, talk as one, there's going to be a big, more impact, definitely. Working together is much better than working as one. Let's all work together.
I think there's a lot to be said about the energy that you're bringing, Tyler, because like that's what creates the, you know, the motion, the forward motion, and that's what we all need to kind of, you know, vibe on. I think. Yeah.
Definitely.
So I think as we are wrapping up, it's about the simple act.
It is. Yeah.
that simple act, that everyday act where one feels they're not an organization. What is it that one can do in their everyday life?
If we all change 1% positively more each day, then we're bound to have more positive change in our life. If all it takes is just one habit, one good habit to be in our lives, to keep pushing on and leave that negative habit alone, and we're going to always be changing positively. I think there was one more comment at the front. I'm sorry, what was?
I was just going to ask a question.
Hello. Hello. Yeah, my question was basically along the lines of, oh, hello, camera. Was along the lines of the theme that I've kind of picked up from a lot of this is this idea of resource, right? For creativity to take place, there's an idea of we need a kind of an abundance of resource. So I guess there's that spare time. People aren't flexing their budgets. For example, on food, I think was an example used, but also like emotional and taxing. So I think as a society, we're really good at kind of noticing a problem, realizing it's a problem, wanting to do something about it, but then what? What can people actually do to be leaders? Because we're talking a lot about kind of working together, right? I'm great, all for that. But you need someone to lead that togetherness. So great, there's 15 leaders here. We're talking about the impact. What, for example, to use me as an example, what can I do to become a cultural leader in the next, say, 5-10 years? What practical advice can you give us?
Great question, by the way.
Yeah.
Who wants to take?
Yeah, go. Someone wants to answer? Yes,
Becky.
Go on, Becky. Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
that's true.
Did you hear that?
Very true. Yeah, it did.
People in the room to use the mic at the front, please, so that people that are watching the stream can also hear that.
Yeah.
Sure. I think Becky said...
Big up Becky, she said step out your comfort zone. If we don't step out our comfort zone, we're always going to be in the same kind of habit or same situation we was in before. You need to step out to make the change. So back to your question as well, amazing question. I think what we need is your support, your passion. Whatever you're interested in, there's an opportunity that can be provided. So everyone's got a connection in different ways. If it's not one subject, you're definitely going to have a connection in something else or have a person that you know. So I think it's all about that connection and bringing that involved.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think it's like just being willing to be part of the conversation, I think, is really important. At the social supermarket where I work, we're engaged with a lot of artists, and we have people who come in to Skillshare, and so they will bring something to, to do sort of like a collective activity, and we'll make food together. And really, it's quite resource-light, to be honest. Like, there isn't a lot of cash needed in order to facilitate that kind of thing. Yes, it totally is, yeah. But I think that one of the things that we really see is that even though there's a drain on people's emotional resources being under-resourced and having to access these kind of services, when they come in, they feel nourished in more ways than one, because it's that collective action and conversation and like togetherness, and it's the connection with people that really brings the difference. So yeah.
And I think what I can add to that around your question is get involved, because each and every one of us, we've got something to give. There's this. Oh, okay. Yeah, go.
Not necessarily. I was going to ask a question, but I can wait.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I was just saying, get involved, because there's something that Josh shared around leadership, that we have it in us in different ways. Yeah. And then when we mix that up with what Becky said, going out of your comfort zone, and also tapping into that, just knowing, even if you don't know, it's like it is there. It's sitting there somewhere. Get involved.
You've got talent.
Yeah.
Everyone's got talent.
It's there somewhere.
Everyone's got talent.
Yeah. So once you step in and you get your hands in there, it will come up. and you will be the leader that you were meant to be.
We're getting told off, but thank you so much as well. I hope you have a great day. Sorry. But I hope you all have a great day. And please come to us at the end.
Okay. Okay, all right.
Laura.
Oh, is it done?
Sorry,
okay.
man.
Yeah. Is it time? Oh, okay. Yeah, so in closing our conversation, I just wanted to read this. Okay. A few words that I wrote for us. Face to face we stand, away from the round tables, away from piles and piles of policies, paperwork. Face to face we stand, declaring, articulating, acknowledging who we are, our history, our today, our future. This is real life in real time. Lived experiences, captured, navigated, embraced, echoed by the 15. This is real life in real time, echoing the voices of many. The abused, the celebrated. Trauma, joy, fire, laughter, embodied. What's next? More conversations or action? This is real life in real time. Mental health challenges wreaking havoc in our homes, stealing young peoples away. In our streets, Mother Earth is groaning in pain. Hostile environment, immigration issues, racial attacks, homelessness. This is real life in real time. As we breathe in, out, what's next? More conversations or action? So we are inviting you to radically love and serve communities with us, to converse with us, radically listen to us, implement with us, take action with us. We are here. We are the 15, the cultural leaders, not just on paper. Thank you.
Oh, my.
So, am I wired for sound? So I just wanted to invite everybody that's taken part in that amazing, extraordinary, thought-provoking, engaging session from the 15. I want you to take a bow, guys. That was absolutely brilliant. Thank you very, very much. Take a bow. Bow. Hey. Thank you so much. Thank you all very much. That was absolutely amazing. I think what the 15 are doing is extraordinary. And that session could have gone on for hours, and I'm sorry we've had to wrap it up, but it was fantastic. Thank you very, very much.